Oh my gosh. Hi everyone. This is for Blue as well. Chapter 8, Talking to Dragons, in which they meet their first dragon. Oh, if you're wondering, I had to switch computers because my boyfriend's has to update something. It's important. It was about 12 feet tall, which is not very large as dragons go, but it was definitely a dragon. It sneezed again, which took care of the remains of the lilac bush, and slid forward over the ashes into the middle of the clearing. Princess fainted. Does that mean Antrel's dead? I put my sword away walking through the enchanted forest with a drawn sword is bad, but talking to a dragon with a sword in your hand is much worse. Fortunately, the dragon hadn't noticed yet. As soon as the sword was sheathed, I looked up again and my stomach went hollow. The dragon was eyeing Shiara, and I didn't like the gleam in its eyes. I didn't like the militant way Shiara was glaring back either. I love her so much. There wasn't very much I could do, though. You just don't interrupt a dragon when it's busy with something else. They don't like being distracted. The dragon slid closer and bent its head until it was staring at Shiara from about a foot in front of her face. Shiara jumped. The dragon blinked. "Are you a princess?" it asked hopefully. "No, I'm a fire witch," Shiara said, "and if you bite me, I'll burn your nose off." "Oh, I thought you were a princess." The dragon lost interest in Shiara. It looked around the clearing again and saw me. Its head moved over in my direction. I bowed. "Sir, madame," I said, trying to recall all the proper ways of addressing a dragon, "I offer you greetings in the name of myself and my companions, and I wish you good fortune in all your endeavors." "I beg your pardon?" said the dragon. Its voice reminded me of one of those wooden wind instruments, the deep kind that you have to stand on a chair to play. It eyed me doubtfully. "Are you a princess?" I stopped and stared. Dragons don't just beg people's pardon. Then I relaxed that this must be a very young dragon, I realized. And I relaxed a little. Dragons don't usually insist on formality until they get old enough to decide which sex they're going to be. They get to decide? That's awesome! "Very sorry, but I'm afraid I'm not a princess. My name is Daystar, and I'm very pleased to meet you." The dragon sat back. I had no idea princesses were so hard to find. It blinked and seemed to look at me for the first time. "There's a princess, like, right there, isn't there?" "I'm sorry I burned your bush, but I couldn't help it." "Oh, please, don't worry about it," I said. "It really doesn't matter in the least." "It was the wizard," the dragon said confidentially. "I'm allergic to them. All dragons are." "I'm sorry to hear that," I said. The dragon looked at me. "You're very polite, Daystar." Its head swirled back to Shiara. "Say, you weren't polite at all." Night Witch poked her head out from behind Shiara's ankle and hissed. The dragon started and then peered down at the kitten. "You aren't polite either," it said. I nudged Shiara. "Offer to do something for him," I hissed. "What? Why? If you insult a dragon, you have to do him a favor," I said. "Hurry up!" If she didn't say something quickly, the dragon would probably eat both of us. Fortunately, the dragon might eat Shiara anyway. The favor most dragons want is dinner. I couldn't tell Shiara that, though, without offending the dragon. I wondered whether I could talk the dragon out of eating us if it came to that. I didn't think so. Dragons are stubborn. The dragon's eyes glittered. Shiara looked at it. "Can I do anything for you?" she asked finally. She sounded a little sullen, but dragons aren't very good at that tone of voice. Besides, it's the offer that counts. "Find me a princess," the dragon said promptly. I breathed a very quiet sigh of relief. I didn't think there was a polite way to kill a dragon, and I hadn't been able to think of any other way from stopping it from eating Shiara and me if it wanted to. It was nice to know I wouldn't have to try. "You want a princess?" Shiara looked thoughtful. "Why?" "Dragons are supposed to have princesses," the dragon explained. "I can't be considered a proper dragon until I have one. But I'm looking for 2 days, and I haven't even seen a smell of a princess. And I'm tired of it. So, you do it." "You aren't going to eat her or anything, are you?" Shiara asked. "Eat her?" The dragon sounded horrified. "And waste a perfectly good princess? Of course not. There aren't enough of them to go around as it is. What kind of barbarian do you think I am?" "Well, I've never met a dragon before," Shiara said. "How was I supposed to know? I didn't mean to hurt your feelings." "All right," said the dragon, "but you have to get me a princess. It doesn't have to be a large one." "Do you want any particular kind of princess?" Shiara asked. "I want to be sure you'll be satisfied." "Oh, young and beautiful, of course," the dragon said. "Are there other kinds?" "There are enchanted princesses," Shiara pointed out, "especially around here." "That's right. Say, maybe that's why I haven't found one." "I wouldn't be surprised," Shiara said. "But will you take an enchanted princess?" The dragon thought for a minute. "No, I don't think so. Spells make things too complicated. It doesn't matter how long it takes me to find her," Shiara went on. The dragon considered. Don't want to wait too long, but I really don't want to be unreasonable either. How about a week? You bring the princess here by a week from today, and otherwise, you owe me another favor." It licked its lips with a long red tongue. "That sounds reasonable," Shiara said. "But what if I'm early?" Suddenly I realized what Shiara was planning to do. I edged toward the clearing, toward where the princess was lying, but I wasn't quite fast enough. "The earlier the better," the dragon said. "Then there's your princess," Shiara said and pointed. "My, you do work fast," the dragon said. It turned and looked at the princess. "She's certainly beautiful enough, but are you sure she isn't enchanted?" "I'm quite sure," Shiara said. "Then why is she asleep in the middle of the day?" I don't think princesses were nocturnal creatures. That's funny. She just fainted when she saw you, Shiara said reassuringly. It's nothing to worry about. It happens to princesses all the time. Will she do? Quite well, the dragon nodded. You're very prompt. Thank you very much. Shiara nodded. I waited until the dragon turned away, and then I frowned at Shiara. Why did you do that? I whispered. That was a terrible thing to do. Would you rather I got eaten? Shiara whispered back. She won't get eaten. The dragon said so. And I bet I won't want her for long. Dragons are smarter than some people. I didn't know what to say to that, so I looked back at the dragon. As it bent its head to inspect the princess more closely, the princess opened her eyes. She gave a small scream, and the dragon frowned. You don't have to be frightened, it said. Really, you're my princess now, and I'm going to take proper care of you, and you can clean my scales and cook for me. I believe that's the standard arrangement. The princess burst into tears. The dragon pulled back, eyeing her uncomfortably. Did I say something wrong? The princess just cried harder. Alas! Ah, woe is me! So recently was I happy, awaiting the coming of my love to rescue me from this dismal forest, and now I am a prisoner of a monster, and when my love arrives he will be eaten by this awful beast, and I abandoned to my fate. Alas, that it should come to this! The dragon looked considerably taken aback. It turned to Shiara and me. This is a princess? Yes, she is, I said, and Shiara nodded. The princess had heard the question, too, and she raised her head. Indeed, I am a princess, and the daughter of a king, and see to what misery I have been brought, she said tragically. Alas, the day I left my father's house, yet I would flee again and endure with patience all the trials and woes which have come upon me, only to be with my love once more. The dragon backed up a pace. Are you sure this is a princess? Alas, now even my birth is doubted. And to whom shall I turn in my distress? Oh, pity my sad state, for I am alone and friendless, and parted from my love. Ah, woe, that ever I let him leave my side, for he is mighty among men, most brave and fearsome in battle, and of fair and pleasing appearance in all things, and he would not leave me thus did he but know my fate. She went back to crying. If this is a princess, I'm not so sure I want one after all, the dragon said. It looked at the princess speculatively. Maybe I could eat her, and said, Ah, help, said the princess. I really don't think you should eat her, I said. After all, you did say you wouldn't. That's right, I did. The dragon looked at the princess, who was crying again, and sighed. Nobody told me princesses were like this, it said in an aggrieved tone. And who is this love she keeps talking about? We haven't met him yet, I'm afraid. I said. She says he's a knight, and she ran away with... she ran away with because her father wanted her to marry someone else. A knight? The dragon backed up a little farther. I don't think I'm ready for knights yet. They're so unpredictable. I don't suppose you could find me a princess without a knight. All really good princesses have knights, Shiara said firmly. And you wouldn't want a second-rate princess, would you? All of them? The dragon said plaintively. I just realized how cool the dragon is learning about being a dragon, while this is his book about Daystar learning about who he is. Very fascinating. Anyway. Well, not all of them, I said. Some of them have princes instead. Princes are much worse than knights, Shiara said thoughtfully. They have magic rings and sorceresses for godmothers and things like that. With the knights, you only have to worry about their armor and weapons, and maybe once in a while an enchanted sword. My love has no need of magic, the princess broke in indignantly, for he is most strong and skilled, and never has he been beaten in combat with sword or spear. Woe that he is no longer at my side. Doesn't that mean he got beaten? I don't like the sound of this, the dragon said uneasily. Maybe if I just... There was a loud crash from the bushes at the edge of the clearing, and then a rather tinny-sounding voice said, What ho! A dragon? What is going on in this book? The princess stopped crying very suddenly and sat up quite straight. Hark! My love approaches. Now shall you see his prowess for yourself. There were more crashing noises. The dragon backed up again, looking nervous. A moment later, a knight in a dented suit of armor fell through the middle of the thickest clump of bushes right in front of the dragon. Oh, my God. On guard, monster, the knight said as he picked himself up. Prepare to die. He pulled out a sword and waved it at the dragon. Well, actually, he waved it a couple of feet to one side. His helmet had slipped a little, and evidently he couldn't see very well. The dragon looked at him and then back at Shiara. This is a knight, it said. My love is the bravest and best of knights, the princess cried. If this is a knight, maybe I can handle him after all, the dragon said. He doesn't look so bad. Ugh! Hideous reptile, no longer do I fear you, and for my love will defend me. Yes, he will defend me even unto death. Now wait a minute, Isabel, the knight said. He pulled off his helmet, looked at it disgustingly, and threw it on the ground behind it. I'm perfectly willing to kill dragons for you, but who said anything about dying? You are my knight and my brave love, the princess said dramatically. Oh, save me from this awful monster who would carry me off and eat me. She sprang up and threw her arms around the knight. It's going to be difficult for me to save you if you hang about my neck like that, the knight said, apologetically. It's quite awkward. If you just sit down, I can see about doing this properly. What is happening? The princess only hung on to him more tightly, which made his aim almost as bad as it had been when he was wearing the helmet crooked. The dragon was watching them closely, and his eyes were starting to glow. You certainly aren't very polite, it said. My love is the soul of courtesy, the princess said from behind the knight, for he is a knight most gentle and well-spoken, much given to, I say, Isabel, must you go on like that? The knight said, it's embarrassing. Do, please, sit down and let me fight the dragon. Then you won't have to worry about getting eaten, you know. The princess gave a small scream. Alas, she said in a quavery voice, behold my sad state, for now I must watch a bloody battle and perhaps see my love slain before my eyes and become a captive of this monster. This is ridiculous, said Chiara. Before I could stop her, she marched over to stand between the dragon and the knight. I followed her, hoping I could get her out of trouble if I had to. Oh, save me, the princess said as we got closer. I wasn't sure whether she wanted to be saved from the dragon or from Chiara. Chiara glared at her. You shut up, she told the princess. You've caused enough trouble already. I say, said the knight, if we're going to discuss politeness. We aren't, said Chiara. We're going to discuss battles. Battles between dragons and knights. Why do you want to fight this dragon? Well, knights are sworn to do battle with the beasts that ravage the fields, carry off innocent maidens, and generally make a nuisance of themselves. The knight said he sounded as if he were reciting something, and he didn't look very pleased about the idea. But the princess nodded approvingly. Well, this dragon isn't ravaging anything. It just doesn't even want your stupid princess, Chiara said. Well, I do too, the dragon broke in. If I'm not going to carry her off, I could eat her after all. And if I fought a knight, no one could say I'm not a proper dragon, even if I don't have a princess. I really don't think that's a good idea, I said. Princesses aren't all that common after all. Besides, you promised me you wouldn't, Chiara said. I did not, said the dragon. I only said I wouldn't waste a perfectly good princess, and this one's not so great. Eating her wouldn't be much of a waste. I don't think that would be very polite, I said, especially when you've talked to her this long without bringing it up. You really ought to ease into these things gradually, you know. Are you sure? The dragon said. I nodded. Oh, all right, said the dragon. I won't eat her then. But couldn't I fight the knight anyway just for practice? I say, that sounds like an excellent idea, the knight said, brightening perceptibly. A sort of exercise for both of us. A tourney, the princess cried. Oh, brave and clever to think of such a thing. The knight looked pleased, and so did the dragon. It nodded and then whispered to Chiara, What's a tourney? It's like a battle, only no one gets hurt. Well, usually. Not even a little, the dragon said. The knight started looking worried again. Well, of course not, Chiara said to the dragon. It's a show of skill. If you were trying to hurt each other, it wouldn't be a tourney, I said. Actually, it wasn't going to be a tourney anyway. There were very specific rules about what a tourney is, and a practice fight between a dragon and a knight just doesn't qualify. I decided not to say so. Ugh, all right then, the dragon grumbled. I don't know why I'm letting you talk me into this. How do we start? I don't even know. What is happening? Oh my god. Wow. This book is a lot more plot twisty, very, very early on. This is surreal and I love it. It's so fun. All right, I'm going to go read chapter 9.